Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about invisible and chronic illnesses, and I know I don't seem like a great candidate to be talking about this, but that's actually not the case. I've been sick since I was about 7 years old, battling rare and unusual conditions. I was lucky to find doctors who could even manage them. But things really took a turn for the worse in the past 2 years. In the course of 1 year, I battled migraines, hyperthyroidism, and a severe medication interaction with only a couple of weeks in between each issue. I entered this past summer feeling healthy and optimistic, but nonetheless, a few weeks later, another issue arose. I began feeling lightheaded and dizzy every time I stood up, and my heart would race as well. My doctors were baffled at this and referred me to Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, to perform further testing. On June 30th, after hours of testing, I was finally diagnosed with neurocardiogenic syncope, or NCS, a chronic, invisible illness in which my heart has difficulty pumping enough blood to my brain, causing me to have very low blood pressure and feel dizzy when I stand up and occasionally sit up. I was so relieved to finally have an answer, and I assumed that neurocardiogenic syncope had caused everything I had been experiencing in my life, since it has a wide variety of symptoms associated with it. Unfortunately, that was far from the truth. Something was still very wrong, and I ended up in the ER 2 nights in a row, less than a week before school started this year. Once again, I began the process of diagnostic testing, and about 6 weeks later, after countless doctors and blood draws, and an additional trip to Nationwide, I was finally diagnosed with a severe case of celiac disease. Celiac is a serious genetic autoimmune disorder that damages the villi of the small intestine and interferes with the absorption of nutrients and medications. Essentially, the body is attacking itself every time a person with celiac consumes gluten, a protein found in wheat, barley, rye, and malt. It is estimated that one in every 133 Americans have celiac, and that's roughly 1% of the population. However, 90% of those with celiac are misdiagnosed, and on average, it takes 10 years to receive a correct diagnosis. This is because there are over 300 symptoms and illnesses associated with celiac. Some of the less obvious symptoms include anemia, chronic fatigue, migraines, hair loss, seizures, anxiety, depression, and brain fog. Many doctors treat these individual symptoms rather than looking to an origin for the problem, and this heavily contributes to the delay of a celiac diagnosis. Untreated celiac is very dangerous as well. The chronic inflammation that celiac causes can lead to the development of stomach cancer, among other severe issues. Most people are not familiar with celiac disease, and most who are assume that celiac is just not being able to eat bread products. It's so much more than that. The treatment is easy in the sense that it doesn't require medication, but is still very challenging. I have to remain on a strictly gluten-free diet for the rest of my life, and I also have to be careful of cross-contamination. The FDA regulations for certified gluten-free products contain less than 10 parts per million of gluten. A 1-ounce slice of regular bread contains over 3,315 parts per million of gluten. It only takes a single crumb of regular bread to cause damage. That being said, I have to be vigilant to ensure that the food I eat is safe. Utensils, pots, pans, and appliances are all easily cross-contaminated. If a product containing gluten even touches something I eat, it can cause harm. It takes a minimum of 6 months for the body to repair itself from the damage that celiac causes. I'm still only a few weeks into my recovery, and I have a long road ahead of me. Both NCS and celiac are referred to as invisible illnesses because they rarely alter appearance. I look healthy, and I still attend school as regularly as possible, but every day I am fighting. During these past 2 years, I have struggled to get through the day and have undergone numerous complex and painful diagnostic tests. Appearances can be deceiving. You never know what goes on in someone's life outside of school. My point to all of this is that you can never, ever give up. Regardless of the situation, you always have to advocate for yourself. My doctors believe that I've had celiac ever since I was 7 years old, and it most likely caused many of the illnesses that I've battled. It has taken me 9 years to get a diagnosis. During those years, countless doctors brushed me off, blamed it on stress, or tried to tell me it was all in my head. but I knew there was something wrong, and I kept fighting, kept seeing more doctors, and kept going through testing. That determination has been vital to me. You have to speak up. As teenagers, we are often underestimated, but you always have to trust your instincts. Don't allow yourself to be silenced, especially in regards to your health.